UFC bet with me. Who's ready to bet on UFC? Me. That's who. So I'm going to be going over this week's card. UFC 309, headlined by Jon Jones taking on Stipe Miocic. Co-main event by Charles Oliveira taking on Michael Chandler. We got a lot of fights to talk about, picks and predictions. You know what we're going to do over here. After I give over all my picks, I'm going to give you guys a parlay. Hey, we're going to cash it again. But hey, how'd you guys do last week? Over here, man, we was hot on the picks. We went 9-2 on our predictions, man. You know, can't complain. But hey, this week, I'm being honest. I'm trying to get perfect on everything, man. I ain't trying to lose nothing, man. Like, I don't want to lose a fight. I don't want to lose a prediction. I don't want to lose a bet. We got one of the GOATs on the card. And, hey, man, you got to come with your best. So let's go ahead and get it started, man. First fight of the night, man. We got Veronica Hardy taking on Eduarda Moura. All right, so you got Eduarda Moura stepping up in this weight class, okay? She used to fight at the 115 division. Couldn't make weight. Now she's stepping up to 125. She's 1-1 in the UFC. Veronica Hardy, she's on a 3-fight win streak. And she's been looking good out here. The money's been coming in on the other side on the dog. I actually think if the dog is going to win this fight, she's going to be able to get Veronica Hardy down to the ground and, you know, use her takedowns. But I actually think Hardy's going to be able to keep this on the feet and win by decision. So the pick's going to be Veronica Hardy, and I think this fight goes the distance as well. All right, the second fight taking place. We got Elliott taking on Hafez. Elliott opened up at a -140. He didn't stay there that low. Money came in. He got all the way up to a -250. So this is what I did. I hopped on him about 2.5 weeks ago at that -140 price tag. Now where he's at, I don't recommend anybody betting him over a -180, -190 favorite. And he's a -250 favorite. He's a guy 2-0 in the UFC. He's liking to push the pace, wrestling, get you down to the ground. But Hafez, he's a guy that we don't really know what we got yet because he's 1-1 in the UFC. Coming off of a fight against McGee, and a lot of people thought that he should be able to finish him. He wasn't able to get the job done. In this one, the price is not right at Elliott at this price. I like Elliott to get the job done in this one. Let's move on to the next one. But if you guys are looking for a dog with good odds, man, this could be one of those early on dogs that might, you know, upset, you know, one of these up-and-coming fighters, man. So this is a live dog on the card. I will tell you guys that. Next fight taking place, we got Galle taking on Brahimaj. Galle is like a -135 favorite out there. He opened up like a slight favorite, -115. Money's been coming in. The reason why is because Brahimaj, a lot of people don't like this guy, man. He's a guy that's supposed to be some submission specialist, dominant grappler, right? But he really doesn't showcase that in his fights, man. His striking volume is real low. He's averaging like under 2 significant strikes landed per minute. Galle isn't great. He isn't good at a lot of things, but he's a raw talent with, you know, some upside to him. His striking is going to be more volume than Brahimaj, and he's going to be the guy that's going to be pushing the pace coming forward. I like Galle in this spot. Next fight taking place, man. We got We got Tybura taking on Diniz in this one. All right, so this fight just got thrown together literally like on 1 week or 2 weeks. The reason why is because Diniz was supposed to be taking on Derek Lewis, and that fight got canceled. And when it did, he got a new opponent. Diniz, you got a talented kickboxer taking on like an overall just fighter in Tybura. He can mix in the wrestling. He can keep it on the feet when he needs to. I don't like the kickboxer in here. Give me Tybura, man. I think he's going to be able to get the wrestling implemented in this fight. Diniz does struggle with that. His last fight against Carl Williams, he wasn't able to stop the takedown in that third round and get up. If this stays on the feet, Diniz will be able to knock out Tybura. But with Tybura taking this fight on short notice, we got to see how he looks on the scales at the weigh-in. So stay tuned. Because if he looks bad on the scale, you know, him already being an oversized big male, I might not like that pick. But if he's looking good and in shape, man, I might think Tybura could get it done and win by submission. And it's a nice little plus money price tag too as well, man. All right, next fight taking place, man. We got Romero taking on David Onama. And this fight just got put together on Tuesday. David Onama's a big favorite, -1,000 on the books. Romero, 8-3, coming back from Combat Global America, or man, I forget, but I know this scene, okay? It's the Mexican MMA scene, Combat Global, I want to say, and any of those fighters that came from there so far, they really haven't been good. In this one, I think David Onama wins inside the distance. Not going to waste too much time on a minus 1,200 favorite, especially on a fight that just got thrown together 2 days ago. Next fight taking place. This one's a good one. Damon Jackson taking on Jim Miller. Damon Jackson opened up like a minus 120, minus 130 favorite. Man, he's all the way up to like a minus 170 out there on the books right now. So this is how it is. You got two veterans in the sport, okay? Jim Miller has probably like one of the most fights in the UFC division, right? But his last fight against Bobby Green Miller, he got a teaching, man. A teaching. He got outstruck 3-1 by Bobby the King Green. Damon Jackson's not going to put on that type of output, but he will mix in the wrestling, mix in the takedowns, and he's going to be there, a game fighter. I like Damon Jackson in this spot. All right, next fight taking place. We got Chris Weidman taking on Eric Anders, your boy. All right. This line didn't win everywhere. Eric Anders was like a minus 150 favorite. Money came in on the other side. He got all the way down to a minus 110. Now he's floating around that minus 120. Oh, man. I like Eric Anders in this spot. Chris Weidman is going to have the advantage in the wrestling. He's going to have the advantage in the grappling. He's going to have the crowd behind him. But so far, fighting in New York, he's 0-2, man. And Eric Anders been dealing with some things in his life that he got corrected. So I actually think that we're going to see a whole new improved Eric Anders. And I think we're going to have a little bit more cardio, a little bit more finish upside ability too. But this is one fight to where I did think that this was a fight announced and brought together for the people for Chris Weidman to win. Sometimes the UFC does this, when they got a veteran that they want to like retire and Hall of Fame, they kind of give them a matchup to where they say, hey man, this one goes to the cards. We kind of know who the judges are going to give it to. They're going to give it to the guy who was a former champion, who's been with the company, been with the promotion, who everybody knows like, all right, man, we need Weidman to just kind of get a win and get on out of here. So I do have hesitancy on that, though, because I do feel like it's a 50-50 fight. And if it goes to the judges' scorecards, man, they might just give it to Weidman just because, man. But I got to go with your boy, Eric Anderson. I'm so glad I didn't bet it when it first came out, man. Sometimes I do that on certain fights, but this wasn't one that I didn't think it was going to go in favor of Anders. Good thing I didn't hop on it, because now I could get at that minus 120, and at that price tag, I could hop in. Let's go. Your boy, Eric Anders. I think this is how he's going to win. I think he's going to have him like this, right? I think he's going to attack the body. Boom! And I think overhand left. Boom! And then just knock down Chris Weidman. Bam! That's what I think. And then Eric Anders is going to be like, what a prediction, right? Nah, man. Sometimes you gotta have fun with it, though. But next fight taking place, man. We got Marcus McGee taking on Jonathan Martinez. Man, levels fight right here. Jonathan Martinez is like the 12th, 13th ranked bantamweight, taking on the 41th ranked bantamweight in the world of Marcus McGee. And they got Marcus McGee the favorite, minus 130, minus 140. 3-0 in the UFC. That's Marcus McGee. Came from the LFA scene. I know a lot about him. Did an interview with Marcus McGee last week. If you guys want to see it, just go on YouTube, type in MMA Locker Room Interviews Marcus McGee. You see it. Got a few interviews with him now, so I know a lot about this fighter, but I'm not being biased, man. I think his fight IQ is there. I think his finish ability is there. Jonathan Martinez is a tough vet. He didn't put fighters out with leg kicks, and that's something that Marcus McGee is going to have to, prepare for. And you got to prepare for just a little bit more than that, because Jonathan Martinez is a guy that knows how to win the scorecards and win by decision. So with that being said, I do like Marcus McGee. I do think he can win inside the distance because he does have a 100% finish rate. But this is one of those ones to where I thought the line would have maybe had Jonathan Martinez a slight favorite, like minus 120, and then just see where the fight went. But in this one, though, I got to go with Marcus McGee. He's a slight favorite, minus 140, minus 135. I thought he was going to get a little bit higher. But, yeah, man, let's go. Maniac gets the win. Next fight taking place, man. We got Marcelo Ruffy taking on James Llontop. All right, Marcelo Ruffy, big favorite on here. Coming from the Fight Nerds, one of the better gyms in Brazil. This guy, I think he's going to be able to win inside the distance. The over 1.5 at like a minus 160. I think it gets there too as well. And then also, I'm going to be looking at another little prop that I like to play in this one. Since I like him to win inside the distance, I'm going to go ahead and predict the method. Let's go ahead and get Rufio wins by KO. All right, let's go. Next fight taking place. Man, this is a good one, man. We got my girl, Karine Silva, taking on Viviana Araujo. Karine Silva's like a minus 240 favorite in there. When I say my girl, it's because it's one of my favorite female fighters I like to watch, man. This girl's vicious. She gets submissions in any way possible. A lot of opponents pull out and or just don't take the fight when they see her name on the contract. It's hard for her to get a fight. This is going to be a big step up too in levels, okay? If she gets past Viviana Araujo, she's going to be, probably like two fights away from, maybe fighting for that #1 title spot or that #1 ranking. Both these girls are from Brazil. Viviana Araujo is going to have the better value, but she struggles with takedowns, and I don't think she's going to be able to keep Karine off of her. Karine is a powerful striker, and not just that. The way that she gets her opponents down to the ground, I mean, she rips off arms, she rips off knees, she does everything. I think Karine Silva wins inside the distance. I like that bet. It's plus 200. I even think this goes under 2.5 rounds. It's plus 200. And I even think Karine Silva just wins straight up. It's minus 250. But it is what it is, man. And sometimes you got to lay the chalk to talk. And, I only do that with the few. And this is one, man. Let's go. Karine Silva wins. And after that, another fight, another fight, another fight. And no, that's too many fights, man. Just give her 2 more fights and we fighting for that belt. All right. Oh, by the way, if y'all want to check out my interview with Karine Silva, just go ahead and Google that too. MMA Locker Room interviews Karine Silva. Yeah, man. Some of the fighters that I interviewed, they fighting on this card, So of course, it's not biasy or anything. It's some of these fighters I really think they should be dominating. If I don't, I tell you. And by the way, I interviewed Damon Jackson as well, man. If you guys want to see an interview with me and Damon Jackson, who's fighting on this card, just type in Damon Jackson in MMA Locker Room, But that's a fight to where it's a 50-50 fight. And, I think Damon Jackson could win in that one as well. All right, next fight taking place. We got Bo Nickal taking on Paul Craig. Big step up in matchup, man. Bo Nickal has about a couple of fights in the UFC. One of the most talented wrestlers. He's a big favorite in this spot, minus 1,200. Taking on Paul Craig, who always likes to just finish his opponents and win by submission and pull out stuff in the second round. But in this one, man, I don't think it's going to get done. I think Bo Nickal's going to win inside the distance, but my specific bet is Bo Nickal to win by KO. It's like minus 155 on some of the books out there. This is the thing, man. The under 1.5 is at like a minus 155, minus 160. I actually think it could get to like mid-second round, and then he just gets the win, So I'm a little bit more hesitant to play the under 1.5 compared to just playing Bo Nickal to win by KO. So that's the way it goes in there. And yeah, man. All right. Contrary play. I guess. Paul Craig is live because he's live in every fight, right? So how are we going to say that Paul Craig is not live taking on a guy who only has 6 fights in MMA and, only about 3 or 4 in the UFC? So, of course, Paul Craig is live, okay? But, yeah, anything can happen, folks. And, wrestler versus jiu-jitsu grappler, I guess. But, no, man. Bo Nickal been rolling with some of the best in jiu-jitsu, like Gordon Ryan and stuff. And he wasn't able to submit him until after 13 minutes. So, I guess, I guess you guys can sprinkle some money on Paul Craig to win inside the distance. Or just, But, I don't know. I don't know, man. Some people always like fading talent and hype trains, and that's not me. I do think some fighters have more opportunities to win. On those, that's when I like to sprinkle on them. But in this one, man, I guess, man, you guys could put some little Skittles on Paul Craig and try to get back some M&Ms. All right, cold main event time. Everybody smash that like button for me, man. Let me know who you guys are betting on. And hey, before we do that, Michael Chandler taking on Charles Oliveira. Do y'all remember the first fight? I do. Man, it was a war. Michael Chandler was like plus money underdog in that one. Okay, only like plus 120, plus 125, I want to say. Now he's like a plus 200 underdog. Because Charles Oliveira finished him in that fight, man. It was a great one. Michael Chandler had Charles Oliveira out pretty much down in the first round, and he couldn't finish him. And then he got gassed out, and Charles Oliveira just finished him early on in the second round. This is the thing, man. I like both these fighters, but Michael Chandler is a guy I've been backing and betting on. I like Michael Chandler in this spot, man. I took him in the first fight. I'm taking him in this one. The reason why is because he had a 2-year layoff. 2-year layoff to kind of sit back and be more healthy, not go on those wars and take that damage that he's been taking. I think he's going to go back to the old Michael Chandler, mixing in the wrestling, mixing in the takedowns, ground and pound type of stuff. Don't just got to stand with your opponents, man. Michael Chandler is an all-around fighter, and he's actually a better wrestler than he is a striker. That's why I liked him at. All right, so in this one, Charles Oliveira does have a path to victory. He already knocked him out once. He could do it again. And Charles Oliveira is the most dangerous fighter, one of the most dangerous fighters in the UFC. I mean, I can't even remember how many finishes he has. It's like 28 or 29. Yeah, man. So I really think Michael Chandler's live in this spot. But I'm not mad at anybody betting on Charles Oliveira in this spot. All right, man. Let me know before we get on to this main event. What's your guys' favorite Jon Jones fight? Go ahead, let me know right now. What's his favorite move? Was it the spinning elbow? Was it the flying knee? Like, what is it, man? Let me know. All right, man. My favorite Jon Jones fight was against Alexander Gustafsson, man. Part 1. All right, it was one of the best fights ever seen. It was actually the fight that I thought he lost, man. I actually thought he could have lost that one. Then Part 2, Gustafsson, I was there at the event, man. Like, look, man. Yeah, man. I be going to the events. That's the difference, man. Some of these people, they don't. But I started off, like, going to the events, man. So, yeah, Gustafsson versus Jones Part 2. I was at that one. That one wasn't that good as all. But, yeah, man. Jon Jones my favorite fighter in this spot, man. He's one of the guys that made me love UFC, man. It's kind of like Mike Vick, man. Like my boy right here, man. Mike Vick made me love football. I liked it, didn't love it, but man, the way that he played the game, every single play you wanted to see Mike Vick play, every game you wanted to see him playing. Same thing with Jon Jones. Every fight you want to see him fight back then, because you didn't know what he was going to do. He was just doing stuff that was unknown. Revolutionized the sport, man. He's taking on Stipe Miocic, one of the best heavyweight champions, but he was coming off a big layoff, okay? But with all that being said, both these guys have formidable opponents. They both are Daniel Cormier. They both were better to get the better ends of them too. Jon Jones, beat him twice, and then Stipe Miocic, wait, what? 2-1, I want to say. So yeah, in this fight though, Jon Jones opened up like a minus 550. I'm not lying to you guys. This is what I did, man. I had a parlay with the plus 700 underdog last week in LFA. I parlayed him with Jon Jones. Whew, that underdog won. I'm through the window. Now Jon Jones up to a minus 650, minus 700 favorite. I'm not telling anybody to do anything with those numbers, man. Stipe Miocic is one of the best heavyweights out there. What I did earlier on, I took the under 2.5. But now the money's coming in on the over. So, do what you want with that. I think Jon Jones has a path to victory in here. In this heavyweight division, though, he already finished Cyril Gane. His last couple of fights in light heavyweight, they all went to the decision. At the odds that they're at, man. At the odds that they're at. I'm still not going against Jon Jones, man. He's the GOAT. He's the best ever, man. And I'm not discrediting anything about Stipe Miocic either. And this will be one thing, man. Jon Jones does struggle with heavy, bigger fighters, okay? That's why that war with Gustafsson was a war. The war with Santos was a war. The war with Dominic Reyes was a war, because these are all big men at that same vernacular size as him. So with that being said, man, Stipe Miocic is a live dog in this spot, okay? He is a live dog, okay? You guys could put some money on Stipe Miocic. Just, I don't know, man. Just on the hints of whenever Amanda Nunes used to fight, no matter how dominant she was, every now and then, you just put some money on the underdog, because you're like, who knows? Like, who just knows, But, and it all depends on who that underdog is, though, man. I think Jon Jones is going to be able to retain the belt. And then he's going to, vacate the belt. And then he's going to just take, fights that he wants to, like Alex Pereira and stuff. But let me know, man. How do you guys think this main event's going to play out? What round? How do you guys think Stipe Miocic is going to maybe win? If this goes to the scorecards, man, like, what do y'all see happening, man? Because, man, but this is the thing, man. I've seen Stipe Miocic dropped a lot, man, in his fights. And not even just dropped off of, slobber knockers. Kind of just off of jabs and stuff. So I think Jon Jones is going to be able to put on another performance. And still. All right, man, let's go ahead and give you guys a parlay to get paid for the day. All right, man, we taking Kareem Silva That's one leg in our parlay. And then we gonna go ahead and go with man, who do we like that I could really just say, yeah, man. Oh, man. All right. Here we go, man. Here we go. Give me Kareem Silva and Marcus McGee. 2-leg parlay. Meet me out the window. Let's get paid. MMA locker room here, part of Pick Dawgz. UFC bet with me.